Thank you for tuning in to 5-Star Tips, where advisors can hear time-tested methods and proven strategies that top practices are using to achieve exceptional and sustainable success. We invite you to listen, take notes, and apply these methods to your practice today to generate better results tomorrow. Your host, Ken Unger, is the founder of the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors. Ken is the industry's leading coach and trainer for mid to high-level financial advisors with almost 40 years of industry experience. Ken has trained more high-level success stories than any other coach. Ken is a thought leader for advisors who are looking to grow and run the industry's top client-centric practices. If you are ready to take your practice to the next level, stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to the 5-Star Tips podcast, a podcast for successful advisors. On this podcast, we like to talk about proven systems, customized advice, and results. For those of you who are listening today, you're in for a real treat. Imagine if you were starting out and building one of the more successful practices in the country. What would you do and how would you do it? Well, today I'm fortunate because we've got a father-son team that were very successful in our business at executive levels and then went out and built a practice. Today I've got with me Paul and Scott Hughes from Hughes Financial Services, and boy, have they done something that's sensational and remarkable. Now when I talk with them, they don't even realize how great a job they've done. But we're talking about two advisors, a father and a son, who built a practice that's now over $250 million. They're two folks that definitely started with the premise that the people in our exclusive coaching program always start with, which is, how do we put clients first? How do we have a high-level conversation with people that's centered around trust, advice, and the best interest of those people in the room? How do we add value? How do we deliver a menu of services that can't be matched anywhere else? How do we use our education, intelligence, and skill sets to truly have a powerful and meaningful conversation with clients and prospects? And then how do we take that and build it into a thriving business? Well, I hope you're sitting down, because today I've got two people that have done it. And I've had the good fortune of having a front row seat to watch this whole thing happen. So, Paul and Scott, are you here with me?
Yes, sir. How are you, Ken?
I'm doing great, Paul. Can you describe your practice? I know I tried to. Let's talk about, what does your practice look like?
All right. Well, Ken, as you mentioned, it's just been over 10 years ago. Scott and I had left another company that we had a non-compete with, and we needed to get going. It was 2009, May, and as we struggled to do our business, I know we kept busy doing a lot of things. It was Scott, myself, and one part-time helper. And that year was very burdensome, lots of long hours. And at the end of it, I had attended a boot camp put on by Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors. It was a 2-day conference where you explained what your services did. And I came back from that, and I really had to convince Scott that it was worth amping up an investment into our business and using your services, attending your conferences. Now, at the time, we had next to nothing in assets under management. I think we might have lied on how much we had, because you had some requirements. And we got into your service in January of 2010. Since then, we have grown from what I would call, we were a practice, meaning we were practicing in the business, and we now have become a real business. And it's through your help and your guidance that I would attribute much of this. So although you espouse this to be a success, I would say that success is contingent on using really very strong implementation of business-like practices throughout our business. And we only have them because you guide us in that direction.
And Paul, I appreciate that. I know, one of the things we talk about is intelligence, which you both have, alone will not build a business. Systems, leadership, and, not just systems, but high-end scalable systems and adding value does. Tell me what your practice looks like now. So you got, Scott, you've got you and Paul.
We have, Ken, it's great to be on your podcast here, and we really appreciate it. There are 9 of us on staff now. 7 of us are licensed advisors. 2 recent additions to our firm are client-facing advisors. We have 2 advisors that work behind the scenes. One's an operations manager, and one does more investment analysis for us. And then there's myself, my father, and then we're really happy that my brother Patrick joined us as a partner a few years ago. So that makes up the 7 licensed advisors. And then we have a couple individuals that are very important in our firm. Our relationship manager, Elise, who is might be the most popular person in the firm because she knows our clients so well. And then we have Melissa, who's our marketing manager, who's near and dear to my heart. She's my wife, but she's also very talented in the kind of work she does for us.
Ken, I'd like to jump in and say, as Scott described that, we do have all these licensed advisors, but unlike a lot in the industry where they have their own clients, every client is a client of Hughes Financial Services. So we're building a business that is an entity that encompasses them. So it's not how much one produces, it's what the company produces in total. And the clients get the team organized to help them rather than just one member of the team in a silo situation.
Paul, I want to comment on that because I just want all our listeners to know, because I know we talk regularly, the 3 of us. You've built what I call a servicing advisor model, whereby these aren't other advisors who came and brought you big books of business. These are basically advisors that came in, people that got licensed to service clients that you had as you take your team approach. Agreed? I mean, these are people that...
That's correct.
You and Scott have attracted a nice number of clients, and now you need people to help you service these clients. So with consistency, with scale, you now can offer consistent service from all 7 of you, not just you 2 who are basically your rainmakers and your people that are going out and have built this large business. Agreed?
Absolutely. It's because Scott and I only have so much time in the day, and we want to do a lot of things with that. And our team now allows us to continue to grow, and they can help service as that growth takes place. And in fact, we're currently positioned where the team is such that we expect the team to suit us for the next few years of growth.
Well, and that's exceptional. But one of the things, and I love the fact that you folks have grown, like you said, from basically a startup to over $250 million and growing. I mean, this year was a great year for you. We'll get into growth in a minute. But one of the things that a lot of people keep asking me about is, now, you 2 are father and son, and Paul, you brought another son in the business, one of Scott's brothers. So how do you keep your relationship healthy while growing such a big business? I mean, I've got a lot of people that are, you 2 are a little different. You started out as partners, unlike some parents that bring their kids in the business, but you started out as partners. But how do you keep this relationship healthy while growing, like you said, from 2 financial planners to a big solid business?
Well, Ken, that's a great question. And I'm happy to say it's easy for us to get along as father and son. You know my father, and you know that I have, I'm very lucky to have him as a dad. But I'm not the only person in the family. So I'm one of 5. They have 12 grandchildren and about to be 13. And so there's just too much. That's a whole nother entity going on in our lives with sports and traditions, vacations, birthdays, and what have you. And frankly, our wives will not allow us to talk business when we're in those kind of circumstances, and that's for the better. That, I think, is really important. The other side of it is being family and working in a business together. There's not really politics in the office. Everyone is fairly blunt, and that can be a two-edged sword. So it's very important for us to get outside views on how we're operating as a business, to get an understanding of what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. You and I have talked about this in the past. There's a show on CNBC called The Profit with Marcus Lemonosis, and he goes around to small businesses that are struggling, and more times than not, they're family-owned businesses that he has to come in and turn around. And I don't want to end up like one of those businesses. And so you usually see that those businesses have problems because of family dysfunction, and one individual might be doing something that they shouldn't be in the organization. So a few things that we found. One is feedback from our clients on the services we provide to them and how they're being delivered to them has been very helpful. We do try to listen to our clients very closely. Secondly, with our staff of 9 here, our team, we do have open dialogue and do meet on a regular basis to talk about what's going well and what's not and how we can fix it. We really try to take almost a Japanese management style to issues within our firm to make sure we're getting the right answers for the end user, and that's the client. And then lastly, and I think probably one of the most important things for us as a family firm is getting outside professional guidance from you and from other entities. So we do have a business valuation that's done each year. We're able to look at the value of our firm and how we compare to our peers. But most importantly, we're able to go to the AFPA meetings 3 times a year, meet with firms that are similar in their business approach. Some can be bigger, some can be larger in size, but they all have a similar shared business experience that they're trying to create for their clients. And we do get to talk to you and to Tom and get coaching on how our firm works. So I think that outside input is really extremely important, and the APFA has been very beneficial in that regard.
Oh, Paul, I want to draw you in here because I know you're a great person, a great parent, a great grandparent. You're definitely a man of thought, but there's got to be some challenges. I mean, here you got 2 of your sons in the business. There's got to be some challenges. I know you like to keep it honest and open, like Scott said, but can you share with us some of the challenges and how you go about handling those?
Yeah. Ken, you're a wise and I say you see through a lot of things. So, yes, there's challenges in any business, I'm sure, when you have an employee or when you have a partner who is going in a direction that you don't necessarily agree with. And as we've grown over the last decade, there have been times that Scott or I or Patrick or anyone in our employ has gone in a direction that we weren't sure that was the right way to go. And I can tell you sometimes it's frustrating. However, we have a rule here, and amongst the partners, that would be the 3 family members now, we don't do anything unless we all agree. That sometimes constrains us from moving forward, but more often, even though I can remember back on the early going, I wanted to bring in employees to do some of the lifting of the daily items that need to be done. And Scott wasn't sure that was right for us at that time. So until I convinced him, I respected his concerns, and we stayed away from doing that. Now, I will tell you, after we got the first employee full-time, Scott saw so much freedom to working with clients that he couldn't wait to get the next employee. Now he's looking at me right now and saying, "What are you talking about that for?" Well, that's the fact. If we get to a point where we all agree, then it's great. Right? If we don't agree, we keep coming back to it, and sooner or later, there's an agreement and we go forward. And that's really, I think, one of the main reasons that we've been successfully able to operate as a family business. I don't know if that helps.
Ken, I would just like to add, I'm not sure I agree with everything he just said, but I will say that there are times where we have important business decisions where a decision has to be made, and we end up at an impasse, and our solution to that, again, as an outside voice, we would call you and say, Ken, here's the issue that we're considering, and what do you think of it? So, and you've been very helpful and very on target when we've called you about those kind of issues. So that's, from a family business, sometimes you do need that outside voice to help you in tie-breaking types of situations.
Well, and I appreciate that. And I know when we talk, you guys say I have all this wisdom, but what I really have is just experience, because I've over 100 of our practices in our coaching program are partners that are parent and offspring. And so, we've got not just the wisdom, but, the experience. Like we talk about, with marketing, we try to only promote things that are proven records. I've seen what works and what doesn't work. I will tell you that the two things I've seen that kill, whether it's partners that are family members or brothers, sisters, parent and child rather, the two things that really kill them are ego and stubbornness. Because, like you said, Paul and Scott, there are challenges that come along the way, but sometimes someone gets caught in an ego battle or someone just gets stubborn. And I think, what I'm hearing from you too is, my wife's favorite saying, you like to keep it real. Keep it real. And as a result, you get answers. So you get answers. But I compliment you too, because, there's getting answers and then there's actually implementing them. So one of the things I know is when we'll have a conversation, a partners meeting, myself and your partners, you don't just listen to the answers. You then go ahead and we all agree to activity and strategy, and it gets implemented. So, hey, Scott, can you share with me also some boundaries? Do you set boundaries at all and say, hey, I know you mentioned your spouses keep this thing a little bit on base, but do you set boundaries, or is Dad coming over to Little League games and, talking shop? Or
Yeah, I think in the early years, especially in the first year, we probably didn't have the boundaries that we have today. As we were fresh and starting and new and exciting, I do believe today those boundaries are pretty well intact. And so it'd be very rare that we would have any kind of extensive conversation at any family events. And that's just been the way it is. And I think that's the way we prefer it. So we've always been a play hard, work hard type family. And so when we're working, it's working hard at that time. When it's time to play, it's time to play, and we're not going to go back to work at that point.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm going to shift topics for a second because I know, we've got a lot of listeners that listen to our podcasts. And one of the things that we stress at our APFA meetings and that you folks are fantastic about is setting up scalable and substantial systems. So can you share with me some of the systems that you folks have set up that have helped you elevate to a top production group? Like, for example,
Absolutely, Ken.
reviewable interview process. I mean, what are some of the systems that, whether it's you two or anyone in that shop using, what are some of the systems that you say are key or essential to your developing this strong world-class business?
Ken, I know that this is probably what attracted me in large measure to having the APFA as a cornerstone in our business. And that was that when Scott and I were struggling that first year without your assistance, we knew there were other things we should be doing. We didn't know how to do it. We absolutely were, this is not brain surgery, but we were involved in the day-to-day activities that just took our time. And we knew there were other important things we were missing. We actually knew what they were, but we didn't accomplish them. So nothing that we did under your guidance was difficult, but it's what distinguished us from being a practice to being a business. So for instance, we outline our services now to our clients on what we do. Before, we just tried to get them to invest with us. Now, they see category by category what our key client services are. I know something that you call our gold medal services. We call them key client services.
Mm-hmm.
And the clients can see that we touch every aspect of their financial life, and that distinguishes us immediately on the introduction. We also have, in the interview process, we have it scaled out to a discovery meeting, 10 minutes discussing who Hughes Financial Services are, what we do, how we do it, how we're paid, getting all the objections up front. And then the rest of the discovery time is spent on finding out all about the client's issues. And then we go into a week or two of where we put together a financial action checklist. That financial action checklist has been immensely useful in attaining the prospect as a client, because it focuses on a expansive look at that client's financial life, rather than just looking at, oh, we want to get your investments and we want to manage those. We're looking at, hey, we want to get your financial future and help you manage it going forward. And that builds trust immediately. So that's one of the systems that has been very useful and very useful and very profitable for us to implement.
I'd even add to that the prospect awareness list that we've created over the years, where we're able to send to our prospective clients the same mailings we send to our clients, which are economic updates, tax reports, and any special reports on anything in the economy, has the effect that on the internet, what I would call almost a banner ad, where somebody is reminded of a business they wanted to go to through a banner ad, and through our prospect awareness list, we have 400 or 500 people that are getting mailings from us, and oftentimes we'll have someone come into our office through that system that may not have talked to us in a year or so, but we're still in their minds and they still wanted to meet with us. And just by having them on that list, it's reminded them to come in to see us.
So, basically what I'm hearing from you is the same thing I hear from a lot of our members, which is you've set up some powerful systems that include a strong menu of services, comfortable points of entry for prospects, and a real value add for clients. So along those lines, let's dig a little deeper and talk about, one of the things that a lot of people talk about is adding value. What really is adding value? I hear so many times, if you just have a good attitude, that adds value. I think that's table stakes. I mean, you have to have a good attitude to be successful at just about anything. But let's talk about adding value, because some of the things I think you folks do, for example, do you use tax planning as a proactive service that separates you and adds value?
We are very dedicated to being tax reduction specialists for our clients, and that tax planning doesn't extend just to what's happening this year, but we do long-term forecasts for our clients as well. So for every prospective client that comes to our office, and for every client of ours, we do take, scan, and analyze their tax returns each year. And it's been eye-opening, the kinds of value add that we can provide to clients that they're not getting, say, from their accountant who's just doing their taxes every year to make sure they're paying the right amount to Uncle Sam. As an example, we do specialize in families that are about to retire or are in retirement. And a large number of our clients might retire in their early 50s or in their 60s and have done a fantastic job of saving for retirement, unaware that that fantastic job of saving for retirement has them in a situation that when they're in their 70s, they're going to have very large required minimum distributions with very large tax bills assessed. So just in doing that simple tax plan, and we can see that that's a long-term concern, show them that concern and give them solutions that we've learned from you and Bob Keebler in doing tactical small annual Roth conversions to reduce not only their lifetime tax bill, but reduce the tax bill to their heirs. So that tax planning, to me, is one of the most important value adds that we have. Now, to be clear, we're not their tax preparer. We will consult with their tax preparer often, and we'll let them know when it crosses out of our swim lane into another swim lane to let them know they need tax advice. But that tax planning to us is very important, and it's something that we pride ourselves on.
So, Scott, when you sit with a prospect, wouldn't you say that somebody's already looked at their tax planning, though? I mean, do you find that to be the case, or are most of them coming and any discussion they've had with someone who's actually claims to be in our business is just primarily revolved around investments?
Can I find most people have very little understanding about their taxes beyond whether they owed Uncle Sam money or they're getting money back from Uncle Sam. And even those that have a little more sophistication, they don't necessarily understand the nuances of actions they can take from one year to the next that will help them or hurt them from a tax standpoint. So I think there's a lot of there's a lot to be learned by the average taxpayer, and that's a real value add for us. And I think our clients appreciate that quite a bit.
And Ken, I'll add that most every client that comes in here, I'll ask, what did your advisor think of your taxes when they looked at them? Your financial planner that you're currently working with, or the broker that you're working with. Most of them say, well, they've never looked at my taxes. And it's evident because sometimes you do an investigation of what's happening, and they may have tax-free bonds in their portfolio, but they're at a zero tax rate. It makes no sense. But the advisor never looked. So I mean, that's kind of silly, isn't it?
So you're telling me some of the secrets of your success are building what we call a financial action checklist that includes a purposeful conversation about their wealth, their tax situation, and their investments, as well as wealth transfer, holding annual tax reviews. It's not just, okay, let's take a look at your statement. Your investments went up or down this much, and here's what we think for the next quarter or 6 months or year.
Absolutely. And that's really, Ken, I think it's a very simple business plan. If you absolutely do what's best for the client in all aspects of their financial life, and you guide them with the options that they have, both the best and other choices, they respect that work, and it leads to an environment where the client wants others to get this kind of help as well, and they send new clients to you, new prospects, because it's almost like a religion. Like, we need to get so-and-so to you. They need your help. And it's not hard to ask for referrals in that sense. In fact, many times we don't have to ask. They just come.
I'd even go beyond that and say that because of the work we do with clients on their taxes, we have tax professionals that are comfortable sending their clients to us, and we're able to work in conjunction with them. So it's been a big part of our growth.
You know, and you lead me to a topic that I've asked just about every guest because, you read like I do that referral generation has died. The industry doesn't attract many referrals anymore, and the average advisor. And I know, like the people in our room, the 300 or so, close to 400 practices that we have in our coaching program, we all laugh at that because do you folks have any problems attracting referrals? I mean, Scott, would you say referrals are dead? How about you, Paul? I mean, what do you?
No, our main source of growth has been referrals. I'd say 99% of our growth over the last decade has come from clients referred to us by other clients. And we still have, I should say, we probably get more referrals than most firms that I know of. Not all the people who come in our office would necessarily be ideal clients, but we tend to get maybe 50 to 60 referrals a year.
So you're getting 50 to 60 referrals. These are warm people that are coming in, asking you to help them with your services. And I think, once again, it's because you follow the formula of having comfortable points of entry. You add great value at every conversation. I mean, I've got some people that in the industry, Paul, they tell me it's hard to get clients in for a meeting. I mean, what do we talk about? Paul, is it hard for you to ever bring in a client to have a discussion?
No, actually, we when we first talk to our prospective clients, we tell them that one of our services is communication, meaning we need to find out what's happening with their lives as much as we'd like them to know what's happening financially with, their circumstances. So the conversations are a requirement of the client message, that goes out. We meet with them, whether it be every 6 months, every quarter, every year. It depends on the circumstances with each client. And we can meet with them here in person. We actually can. We now have clients in 24 states. Okay. So we do a lot of our communications online with a conference call and bringing up our screens. But that client meeting is really important, and we are constantly scheduling those meetings for the opportune time to go over what's happening with them.
So, and I know this from experience, and I know this from working with you, so would you say you've set up a service culture where clients come first, you're offering substance, honesty, and real powerful conversation about them at every meeting, and on top of that, you've developed a referral culture where people not only are encouraged to generate referrals, but they want to. As a result of what's going on, sounds like they want to encourage people to come talk with you folks. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's such, like I just this morning had a conversation with a client who wanted to have me move some more money over into his account. And the next thing he says, oh, by the way, I've got another prospect for you, and his name is such and such. Guess what? It's not that I asked him for the prospect. It's that he felt that person needed the help. And they have developed the understanding that we are here to do that. And it's been a fantastic business plan for us to do everything possible to help a particular individual with all of his financial circumstances, and then let him know that we don't want him to keep us a secret. And they don't.
And it's like in our CEO classes when we get together, we talk about if you could develop clear paths for clients and clear paths for people who work for you too, for employees, people understand, people want to fit in. They want to belong to something that's good, strong, helpful, and they want to populate it. So I think one of the things you folks do great is you've set up a clear path, not only expectation-wise, but delivery-wise for clients. I hear a lot of people that they're great at dating. They set up that great expectation, but they're not great at delivering. So I think you've done it for clients and for prospects, as well as for employees. So with that, I want to shift gears and talk a little bit about, Scott, here you are, Paul, you've got grandchildren. Scott, you've got some younger children. Let's talk about, some people ask me, you two have built a strong business. You're bringing in an awful lot of money every year. I think last year was one of your best growth years. I see you doubling this business every 3 to 5 years easily. How about your workload? I mean, Scott, are you able to still be a parent? Are you able to still be a spouse? I mean, what is your workload? Are you just one of those guys working 80 hours a week?
Absolutely, Ken. I was one of those guys that worked 80 hours a week early in my career, and maybe the first year or two that we started the firm here. But I would say I work normal business hours now with a good 4 to 6 weeks of time off, spending time with the family. I like to coach. I coach my kids in the various sports. They're teenagers now, so we've got a limited amount of years to do that. My wife and I enjoy traveling, and we have built a firm now where I don't feel a necessity to have to be by the phone or my email every minute of the day. And so part of having matured a little bit as a firm is also making sure you take time for yourself, because at least in my case, if I worked 80 hours a week, every week for the last 10 years, I think I'd be pretty burnt out now. I see a lot of friends who are lawyers that are in that situation. Some can do it and they love it, that kind of lifestyle. Most end up burning out. And I'm really thankful for the lifestyle and the life that I have now. And I think that comes with building in the proper systems, and having, when a client calls in the office and needs something, we have that already mapped out, as you mentioned. If a prospective client calls in, we have what they need or what they need to be told mapped out very well. We have a schedule that's run pretty well and tight. And having those systems, processes, the infrastructure, and understanding the communications to the clients, prospective clients, that all helps make my life a lot easier. And so much so that, sometimes my father and I may not even know what other people in the office are doing, because good things, like a mailing may go out, we weren't even aware the mailing went out because the systems are in process. And I think that's a good place to be as we've been maturing.
And how about you, Paul? I know you're real good. We always have a good goal setting session with you folks. You're one of the first to getting your operating plans in. So you know how the firm's going to operate for the year. You've got goals set, calendars, pretty much etched out. I hear you like to golf, Paul. I know that for a fact. Do you get out? You get out much?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm working, and it is a work day. I'm 11:30 tomorrow. I have a tea time with two of our better clients, and I've asked them to bring someone along. And guess what, Ken? That's called prospecting. Okay.
There you go.
And it's a work day. I also have decided that I'm working 4 days a week now. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yet we're still bringing in quite a few assets. Part of that day off, I'm always mindful of, what opportunities might open up even on that day off. And I will also add, Ken, that in our organization here, I think we've got some extraordinary people who work with us in the team. And we've also tried to encourage them to respect the value of their own personal time. So, for instance, this summer, we asked everyone to consider taking 4 of the Fridays off for themselves. We don't keep a clock on them so much, meaning, if they have to leave early or come late to work, we're not standing over their desk saying, "Where were you?" We're just asking them, "Hey, is your job, everything everything done that needs to be done, or do you need any help with anything?" And they're great. Yeah, we can really see great product out of everybody, and I think it has to do with the nature of the business. One of the employees just 2 days ago said that the business here felt like their family, that they were really happy and really felt they were important to it, and they are, and they feel like they belong, and we want them to feel that way because they're important to us.
And Paul, I know this because obviously you've been part of our group for over a decade, you and Scott, and we talk about this at our CEO classes. Is first and foremost, advisors need to invest in their clients, but they also need to invest in team members. And I know you supply all your team members. They come to our sessions, they get the proper education. They can handle the tax planning. They can handle the wealth transfer. They can handle those repeatable conversations. They can handle a lot of the SOPs. Is there any chance I know we talk about strategy stays with the owners, tactics go to the team. So what are some of the major tasks and services, Paul and Scott, that you say over time, Scott, once we've evolved from you, Dad, and half a team member, what are some of the tasks and services that you're able to delegate to team members?
Well, I think that's a great example of how we grew the firm the way we wanted to grow the firm. And I'll use an example of a young man, Berkeley, who we hired a couple of years ago out of college. He's going through the CFP program at Virginia Tech. And we brought him in, and we told him he's not responsible for bringing any clients in. He's responsible to be more like a paraplanner. So we've been able to delegate work to him that includes building out the financial plans with any money, helping us with the financial action checklist, doing some client prep work. And he, over the last 2 years, has now earned his CFP designation, and we're just now putting him in front of clients. So he spent 2 years really running all the different components of what we were doing previously as the financial planner. We've delegated to him as more the paraplanner. But it's more than that. As far as delegating, we delegate our calendars to Elise for appointment setting. We delegate compliance to Joanne. She's our operations manager. She had actually been a compliance manager for a previous company. She handles all our paperwork, All our event plans and marketing are done by Melissa in our office. Client prep work, bookkeeping. We actually have an outside bookkeeper who comes in and takes care of those things. So as you have taught us well, our time is best served by being in front of clients and prospects. So anything we can do to give us more time to be in front of clients and prospects, we're all for it. We think it's a great idea, and we're constantly looking at ways to improve that. We even have someone that does some of our research and portfolio management, a lot of our trading here in our company as well.
Well, that's excellent.
What that leaves us with, Ken, is we're trying to get to one of the first messages I heard at your boot camp over a decade ago is what's the first rule of what you should be doing, what's the second, and what's the third. Mm-hmm. And they were all the same. Spend time with clients and prospects. Spend time with clients and prospects. Spend times with clients and prospects. Those are the three priorities, and we're trying to bring that to pass in our company here.
And it's funny because I still hold focus to those core principles of spending time with clients and prospects and constantly adding value every time you're with them. I got to agree with you, Scott, and I know, Berkeley you've trained Berkeley very well. He's a great addition to your already sensational and strong team. And but I compliment you both because you both are willing to invest in team members, bring on good team members. Paul, one of the things I know you and I talked about early on was let's not just hire average people. Let's go out and invest in above average and exceptional people, but hold them to high standards. Scott, I know you've done that, and I compliment you on that. Can you talk to me a little bit about investing in your business? Because one of the things I find is, that had to be, especially you folks were starting up. I mean, you had to pay for coaching. It's not cheap to staff an office, run a firm. I mean, what would you say to somebody about investing back in their business? I mean, obviously you're at the point where you've got phenomenal returns and you both are doing very well as a result of what you built. But what would you say to someone about investing in their business?
So, Ken, one of the first things that we did by investing in our business was invest in the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors as a resource to us. But it really goes beyond that. Advertising, we don't pay for newspaper advertisement or anything like that, but we do our advertising. Our marketing plan is, I won't say cheap. In fact, it's not a cost. It is an investment. If we hadn't had that, if we didn't do our prospect awareness program, which includes lots of mailings every month that cost quite a bit now with the postage costs, if we didn't do our candy bars that we send out at tax time for take a bite out of Uncle Sam, to our clients and prospects, which cost quite a bit, those are investments in the growth. And as we look at it, is we spend this money, we see the returns, and it's returns walking in the door. Scott said we have 50 or 60 prospects coming in every year. And actually, I'm thinking back at our calendar, because we haven't made a count of that, and we probably should. But often we have, 2 or 3 new prospects coming in for a meeting on a week-to-week basis. So at least 50 or 60. And it all comes from investing in our business, doing the workshops, doing the client advocate events, doing the mailings, the prospect awareness program, making the calls, meeting with the clients, taking them to golf.
Ken, one of the nicest business development items that we've had happen last year is that we have our normal workshops that we've done, and recently we'll advertise a workshop and it sells out within 24 hours. And so we'll have a room at a restaurant, Maggiano's, and we'll have 60 people sign up quickly. And we've had to actually, for the first time, every workshop we've done, we've had to offer a second time for clients. And it's been a nice reward. And that investment, you're buying food for everyone there. It goes from 60 to 120. It exceeded our budget that we originally set out, but it was an investment we were happy to do and happy we quickly made the decision that we needed to extend to a second topical workshop maybe a week later.
And gentlemen, I just want to clarify for those listening, the Prospect Awareness Program, as you know, is one of our signature programs where you're getting information to prospects on a regular basis, and you follow that to a T, and you do a phenomenal job. And your client workshops, Scott, just so I clarify as well, they're client workshops. They're not, these, ads in the paper for like a steak and try to sell some product type of workshop. These are workshops where clients come and can bring their friends as well. So once again, through the Prospect Awareness Program and the client workshops, which you, as you said, you sell out and have to do too because you got so many clients that want to come and bring their friends. You've offered and you've built to where you got these comfortable points of entry. And I'm not surprised that you folks bring in over 25 million easily each year. I know you want to bring in 50, but you're bringing in well over 25, each year comfortably and pushing closer to that higher bar. Can each of you possibly address this? Because one of the things you learn from is things that not only work but don't work. Paul or Scott, could you either both or either one of you answer, what were some of the big time wasters that others can avoid that either you missed and or you say, gee, I spent a lot of time wasting time on this early on, or I don't anymore? What are some of the big time wasters that other advisors could benefit from not spending time on?
Ken, I think two things for me that are big time wasters. One was early in my career, I was taught to try to get any prospective client to work with me at that time. And I would spend a lot of time trying to convince people that I probably should have just moved on from. So I think that the nice freedom of being an independent registered investment advisor is that if I meet with somebody and it's not a good fit, it's not hard for me to say this may not be a good fit. And part of the reason that I think we've had success in this company is that we work with people we want to work with and that value who we are and want to work with us. And I think when you come across a difficult client that is going to continually be difficult, or you come across somebody who needs a lot of convincing, I'm just at a point in my career where I'm not sure that person is worth spending a lot of extra time on it. A second area is my pet peeve in the office, they know, is long meetings. So when we have meetings in the office, I want to get to the point. I want to say everything needs to be said, but I don't like to spend hours in meetings. I want to get in, talk about what we need to talk about, and get out of it and move on. So we do meet every Monday for about an hour to go over upcoming business and the previous week's business. And it's been very helpful as a firm. But when it turns into a 2 to 3 hour meeting, that's when we know we've gone too far.
Paul, anything to add to that? Anything you say, big time wasters that people could just kind of avoid?
What came to mind, Ken, is back when we first started, before we joined you, we did spend 80 hours a week. And a lot of that time wasted was doing what we thought was necessary, okay? Like paperwork, like looking at research, market returns, and the like. So I would encourage anyone who is listening, if they have a task that they can pay somebody else a reasonable wage to do, call it the $20 an hour work. If somebody else could do it for them, what's the work worth to them that they can do with the client or with the prospective client? What's that worth to them? They need to spend more and more time doing that work and less time doing everything else.
And that's powerful, Paul. I think, being able to delegate, having the mindset to delegate, understanding that you have to invest in your business. I mean, Scott and Paul, these things are, I will not burden you with, some of the things we laugh at, which are the industry's talking about putting clients first. I mean, you're both RIAs. And so, you've grown up Paul, I think you must have taught Scott as probably in diapers that he's got to be respectful to people because he is so, and, understanding that clients must come first before, we can actually benefit from things. So you two are great at having, once again, meaningful conversations, purposeful agendas, intentional practice that's just repeatable and remarkable. What advice would you give to others? I mean, what would you say to someone who says, wow, I'd love to start a practice that's on its way to, I think within the next several years, within a few years, you guys will be a $500 million and growing to $1 billion plus. I mean, you've built a juggernaut that can grow as big as you want to let it. I know, Scott, you've got right now 3 active kids and you're trying to spend a lot of time with them. Paul, you're trying to get your handicap down to as low as possible. So you folks do have personal interests and things. But what would you say to others that say, how do I grow a practice like that? I'd love to do what you folks did. What would you say?
Well, an early mentor of ours used to say half our job is just showing up. And I think that's true. It's the other half of the job that I think sets apart the true professionals from some of the people in our industry that we try to distance ourselves from. And I believe if you are an honest, transparent professional with your client's best interest at heart, and you're willing to work for them and communicate with them, that you'll be on the right path strategically or mentally. The other part, though, is that you're running a business, and running the business requires more than intention and more than being an honest player in the industry. And running that business means you need to have systems that you pre-design. We're really fortunate that when we started our own firm, we quickly were able to adopt a lot of systems through the APFA. I think it's important to have systems that make sense, that goes from how your office is run to your marketing campaign, to business development, communications, employee job descriptions, and the roles that each one fills, what swim lanes are each of the individuals going to fill. And when you can put all those together, you get what I call the snowball effect. And I think one of the biggest benefits that we've gotten from you and the APFA is that the snowball that we started that used to be a very small snowball has been compounding at a pretty sizable level. And it's exciting to be a part of and to watch and to enjoy. And I think it comes with a nice marriage of what your intentions are as a player in this industry, as well as taking on those business aspects that are pretty important.
I would tell you, based on what I've seen from you folks, from the wow experience that you give to clients, the personalization that you bring to everyone's situation, the fact that you're lifetime learners and come to the academy and constantly upgrading your skills to add tax alpha and all different types of proactive planning for folks, the fact that you're ahead of the tax code or laws and not behind them, the fact that you have systems of delegation and your meetings to close the loop, so to speak. Paul and Scott, it's easy to see why you two are such successes. And I just want to let you know, I am honored to be a strategic part of your amazing journey. I don't know if you have anything else left for our listeners, but I'd like to thank you two on behalf of all the clients that benefit from the great advice you give. I'd like to thank you on behalf of all the advisors that will listen to this and really hear from two compliant, committed, high-end professionals some good strategies that they can hopefully take away and use in their practice. I'd just like to say thank you on behalf of everyone here at the Academy, because it's a great honor and pleasure to have a front row seat to watch your success. So,
Ken, I want to re-echo our thanks to you on how you've helped us attain this success. And as you know, we're not done. We're still on the path. But everyone listening, I tell you, the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors is a group of firms just like ours. We're trying to do the right thing for their clients. And I'll say again, it's a fantastic business plan where you have a client who knows you're doing the best for them that you can. They appreciate it, and they'll bring more to you. That we learned from the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors. And that is really big thanks to you, Ken. I know I consider you a great friend. I consider you a great asset. And we both consider the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors a place that we'll always be part of. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. I've been very fortunate. We have over the last 20 years, we've amassed a collection of great practices that are all willing to share. We have meetings that are in an environment that's healthy, upbeat, positive. And so if you imagine yourself being with the best, I hope you'll take a look at us here at the Academy to help you on your journey. I would ask this from anyone listening. This is 5-star tips, so I'm asking for a 5-star rating because I think I got 2 5-star participants today, Paul and Scott. So give us a 5-star rating, share this podcast with your friends, and let us know. Tell us what you want to hear on future podcasts. Scott and Paul, great honor. Thank you, folks, for being part of 5-star tips today.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great day, and looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at our session. Really appreciate all you've done, and boy, I look forward to the next decade. Look forward to a fantastic decade. Thank you, gentlemen, on behalf of everyone listening.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 5-Star Tips. For show notes, please visit www.theapfa.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with a friend. And don't forget to sign up for our email list. For more information on the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors, please visit our website at www.theapfa.com. That's www.theapfa.com. Or give us a call at 866-866-0472 with any questions you may have.